Today, we're going to talk about the impact that your food has, not just on your overall health, but also on your oral health, and why this should be a concern for you, and what that impact has. Your oral health is connected to your overall health. What puts me in a position to do this? For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Debbie Kravitsky. I've been a registered dietitian for over 30 years. Currently, I'm the Director of Nutrition at Mass General Hospital's Cardiovascular Disease Prevention Center. I consult with many corporations. I have a private practice. I have appeared in national publications such as Harper's Bazaar and Family Circle magazine. I've also contributed to a chapter in a book written by other cardiologists at Mass General Hospital called Facing Heart Disease. I've also appeared in television. It gives me my greatest joy and pleasure to help you to reach your dietary goals by providing accurate, evidence-based, current nutrition information. Together, we will shop, we will cook, and I will navigate the way. So let's address this important issue of your dental health and how food has an impact on your dental health and therefore on your overall health. It may surprise you that there is a connection, but I want you to think about the fact that when you eat foods, your first point of entry is your mouth. So if there are any issues with your mouth, any dental issues, any gum issues, any infections, that might impact your food choices and therefore the nutrients you're getting. And as you know, I've said many times, we are what we eat. In addition, your mouth is the host to tens of trillions of bacteria in something that we call your microbiome. If you please refer to the video on microbiome, you'll know what I'm talking about, and that one of the ecosystems, or the microbiome, referring to these bacteria along with their genetic makeup, will be impacted by the foods that you're eating. This is a new area of research as we're just beginning to learn more about the impact of the bacteria in your oral microbiome or your mouth. And additionally, when you eat certain foods, you will support your dental structures and your gums, and that will make a big impact. So they're all connected. They all go in circles, and they all make a difference in your overall health. It is the foods that you choose, as well as how often you choose to eat them, that will affect your general health and the health of your teeth and your gums. If your diet lacks certain nutrients, it's going to be more difficult for the tissues in your mouth to resist infection, and this may contribute to gum disease. So now, while poor nutrition is not a cause of gum disease, many believe that it accelerates the severity of the disease, and severe gum disease is a cause of tooth loss in adults. So you can see how this makes a big difference in your overall health, as well as the health of your gums and your teeth. Your mouth, your teeth, your gums, they're more than just places for eating. They're also, or tools for eating, they're also essential for chewing and swallowing, which are the first steps in your digestive process. So what you put in your mouth is not only important for your general health, but also that of your teeth and gums. In fact, it might be interesting for you to note that if your nutrition is poor, one of the first places that we can see that is in your mouth. So we'll see a swollen gum, swollen tongue, or we'll see a tongue that might be painful, all signs of lack of certain vitamins and minerals. So it's really important to make sure that you have a balanced diet. And we're going to talk about foods that will negatively impact your dental health or your oral health, and those that will positively impact your oral health, and then how to put it all together in a practical format. So you'll have a roadmap at the end of this, but you'll also have the understanding and the knowledge to know why it is that you're doing what you're doing and making the food choices that you have. Let's talk about first tooth decay. What is it and how do you get it? Well, tooth decay happens when plaque comes into contact with bacteria that produces acids as a result of its interaction with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates all break down into sugar, simple sugars eventually. Things like lactose and maltose, sucrose, which is just table sugar, fructose, these will interact with plaque bacteria, which then will produce acid, and this acid will start to attack the enamel on your teeth, and over time it can eventually break it down, which will lead to a cavity and tooth decay. Acid attacks the teeth for 20 minutes or even more, and that will eventually result in decay. So what are some general guidelines, things you should do? Number one, drink plenty of water. Water will help to buffer that acid, will help to swish and remove teeth so it doesn't have that constant contact with food. Brush twice a day for 2 minutes each time. Make sure you floss regularly, floss every day, and go to visit your dentist regularly. Any of my dentist friends who are watching me say that, I'm sure they're smiling and their teeth are clean. Make sure that you brush also not only to remove sugar, but also particles of food that may have caught in between teeth, and the flossing should help you to remove that as well. Limit in between meal snacking. When you eat, so not only what you eat, but when you eat makes a difference. When you eat food as part of your meal, you encourage a lot of production of saliva, and saliva flow will help to remove these particles, wash these foods from your mouth, and lessen the side effects of the acid, effects of the acid, which can harm teeth and cause cavities. When you eat foods in between meals and you're eating them just by itself, for example, you're chewing on a piece of licorice or regular gum, it can stick there, and you're not. And therefore it'll have longer contact with the tooth, which will increase the effects of that acid affecting and damaging the enamel. So be mindful of the form of the food. Is it liquid? Is it solid? Is it sticky or slow to dissolve? How often are you including foods that have a lot of sugar and also a lot of acid? And also, what is the nutrient contribution of this food? What kind of nutrients is it giving you? Is it just sugar and calories, or is it foods that are rich in minerals and vitamins and protein that will help to sustain oral health? Do you have any kind of a medical condition that's impacting your food choices? Do you have reflux? And that acidity is going to increase your risk for cavities and weaken your teeth. Also, the acidity could do harm on the esophagus. Limit added sugars. So for both health, including obesity, diabetes, heart disease, but also for oral health, no more than 10% of your caloric intake should come from added sugars. And this is the ceiling. This is the max. You don't have to meet the max. Less is more. So what does that mean in terms for you? Well, if you happen to be on a 1,500 calorie diet, that means that no more than 9 teaspoons of added sugar should come from the foods that you're eating. Now, how do you know? Is this added sugar? Does fruit have sugar? Well, fruit has fructose. It's tightly bound to fiber. That's actually going to act sort of like a toothbrush. It'll help to wear it away. But still, drink a lot of water to flush it through. But look, when you're reading a label, look for the words that let you know that this manufacturer has added sugar to that food. So look for the words, sugar itself. Doesn't matter if it's white sugar, brown sugar, raw sugar, turbinado, organic sugar. Sugar is sugar. It doesn't matter the form. It's still liquid. It's still sugar. So honey is liquid sugar. Molasses, almost any kind of syrup. Cane syrup, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, maple syrup. I apologize, forgot to take my phone out. This is the beauty of an organic live stream, is that we do these things, we do them live. And so you get to see. Somebody once told me that they love this part of the show because it's not all glamored, it's not all finesse, that this is really real. And that makes this person feel much more comfortable and much more connected to me, because it's what you see is what you get. But I'm thrilled to have you here. But look for these words that let you know that they have added sugar. It doesn't matter if it says rice, you think it's white rice or brown rice. It's white rice. That's going to behave like sugar because the fiber has been removed. It will be so anything with the word sugar. Fruit juice, it's added, it's just like sugar. It will behave like sugar. So make sure you're mindful of the sugar that you're eating, and so, because that's going to increase the risk. In general, anything OSE will be the word sugar, maltose, lactose, fructose, dextrose, but also the word dextrin is also sugar. And that's going to that's going to increase your risk for dental cavities or dental caries. Sugar substitutes have no sugar, therefore they don't cause tooth decay. So make sure you maintain good oral health. Make sure that you watch what you eat, how often you eat, look for changes in the mouth when you eat certain foods, and that you brush often, and if you can't brush, that you rinse or gargle with water to try to minimize the impact and the contact of the food. If anybody has any questions or comments at any time, make sure that you feel free, as always, to type this in, because that's the beauty of the live stream. We're interactive. I'll answer you right away. Doesn't bother me to stop. Actually, I'm happy to. But let's talk about...
Charlene says hello, but she's driving.
Charlene, don't type in because you're driving. I couldn't stand it. But I am so excited to have you. And you can hear me as you're driving. That is the coolest thing. I love that. Good for you. You're much more tech savvy than I. I don't think I could do that in the car. But that's awesome that you can. I'm thrilled to have you as part of the live stream. This is great. Let's talk about foods that can do damage. This is the no list. And then we're going to go to the foods that you should include, and then we're going to put it together in terms of a meal plan so that you have that roadmap. First of all, hard candies, for many, many reasons. When you eat a hard candy, this is a lollipop, for example, a hard candy lollipop, not only the sugar, which will increase the acid and therefore increased dental decay, but also it's hard. And if you tend to bite on it, it's easy to break a tooth, which is exactly what we're not looking for. So instead, a sugarless gum, preferably one that has the American Dental Association seal of approval, things like Trident, Eclipse, Extra, Breath Savers, Bazooka sugarless gum, Orbit. These are all gums, brand names that have been given the ADA seal of approval. They are sugarless. Many of them have a sweetener called xylitol, which will help to buffer the effect of the acids in your mouth. But keep in mind that too much xylitol sometimes can have a laxative effect. So use your good judgment. Moderation is your guide. But instead of a hard candy, a sugarless gum like that is a great idea. It also encourages saliva flow, and that will help to remove the foods and to protect you. Ice is for chilling. It is not for chewing. Same thing. It's hard. You're going to bite on an ice cube or chew on ice. It's easy to do damage to the tooth and damage to the enamel, which will leave your teeth vulnerable. Not at all what we're looking for. Frequent exposure to acid can erode enamel, making teeth more susceptible to decay over time. So that lemon in your water, some people bite into a lemon. Let me know if that's you. Make sure that you're mindful of that, because this is not a good choice. Definitely plain water would be a much better choice. I also love, this is my Topo Chico. I don't know if any of you have tried mineral water. I think I mentioned to you before that my vice is diet soda, which is not a good choice at all. We'll talk about that coming up. But this is a great way to curb a diet Coke or a diet soda a craving that you might have. This is mineral water. So not only is it just water, but it also is loaded with minerals to help sustain healthy enamel and a healthy tooth and help good oral health. So let me know if any of you have tried mineral water. I find it delicious and gives me a little bit more satisfaction than a regular seltzer water does. So make sure that you let me know if that's you. Caffeine, particularly if it's with sugar. So both in the form of coffee, in the form of tea, and also, unfortunately, my diet sodas. For many, many reasons. Caffeine can dry your mouth out. That reduces that saliva flow, which is protective. Dark colored beverages like this, particularly when they have constant contact with your tooth, can stain your teeth. So my daughter, when she was in school and she did a science experiment for a science fair, that was her experiment, is she took teeth, she put them under the same temperature conditions as the mouth, and she soaked them in different colored liquids, from Coke to coffee to tea to water. And it was incredible, the stain that these teeth absorb. And so be mindful of that. Make sure then that you have plenty of water. It is a much better beverage. It is the beverage of choice. When foods are sticky and they stick to your teeth and they have longer contact and they with that bacteria and would produce more acid, and that can do more damage. So rinse with water and brush. Things like dried fruit, apricots, figs, dates, raisins, they're sticky, so they will stick to your tooth and they can do damage. The longer the contact with the tooth, the more likely you are for that acid to erode the enamel. Things that have crunch, things that have a lot of starch, things that can get caught in between your teeth can also do damage. So things like a potato chip, things that you might not think of. A potato chip, you wouldn't think, you'd think sugar, but not potato chip. But that can get stuck in between your teeth, and that extra starch um, can start to do damage. So instead, make sure that you floss, remove those food particles, which can lead to plaque buildup. When you definitely want to swap soda, particularly sugar sodas, regular sodas, with that, and if you're having it for long periods of time, the longer the contact, the more frequent the contact, the greater you are to have plaque bacteria use that sugar to produce the acids that will erode your enamel, the hard surface of your tooth. Most carbonated soft drinks, including my diet soda, I hate to tell you, are acidic and therefore bad for teeth. And they also include caffeine in them, and that will dry out your mouth. So make sure you have water, water, water. Alcohol. For those of you who are sitting here saying that's okay as you're drinking your nightly glass of wine, I want you to know that alcohol also causes dehydration and therefore can lead to a dry mouth. And excess alcohol can reduce saliva flow, and that can lead to tooth decay. So you didn't really get away with it here, I'm sorry to tell you. Make sure that you look if your kids are drinking or you are drinking sport drinks, that you read that label. They certainly don't need the added sugar. Instead, what should you do? Have water, water, water. Make sure your water is fluoridated. Use a fluoridated toothpaste as well. It will help to restore the enamel and protect those teeth. And also include dairy. You're looking for calcium, you're looking for vitamin D, you're looking for protein and phosphorus. Dairy is one way to get that, but make sure your dairy is low fat or fat free, and also make sure that they have not added sugar, so that if you're having a yogurt, which is a great choice, make sure it's a sugar-free yogurt. If it's milk, you wouldn't think, but sometimes there is added sugar in milk, so make sure that your milk doesn't have added sugar. There's a difference between added sugar and lactose. Lactose is the natural sugar in milk, and it comes along with the protein to slow its absorption. But sometimes, particularly in things like a chocolate milk, a strawberry milk, that they have added sugar to that milk, and that's exactly what we're trying to limit to ensure better oral health. Include protein. You need protein in a steady stream for overall health, but also for your oral health to support the structures. So fish, chicken, eggs, protein, are also rich in phosphorus, which will help to strengthen your teeth. Make sure you include plenty of fruit and vegetables. And so while all carbohydrates break down into sugars eventually, choose the fruits and vegetables that have a lot of water and fiber. First of all, vegetables, the vegetables that have a lot of water and fiber, tell me if you like them. Things like string beans. Do you like broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower? Look at all the water and the fiber in zucchini, in spinach, tomato, lettuce, onions, cucumber, celery, cabbage, bean sprouts, Brussels sprouts. These are unlimited, and they're so low in carbohydrate that they're really not going to contribute to tooth decay. But starchier vegetables like beans, like winter squashes, dried and lentils, and potatoes and corn, those you want to be more mindful of because they are higher in starch. So use more of the non-starchy. Include fruit, select fruit that have a lot of water and fiber or have this low caloric density. Watermelon, like its namesake, loaded with water. Any of the melons, and we're in season now, so this is an easy time to include these. Any of the melons, any of the berries, peaches, plums, apples, oranges, this is the way you want to go. And where apples are tough, they're hard to anything you can bite into can do damage. Make sure you break that apple down. I like to cut them into smaller pieces, easier on your teeth.
Richard Cavalier says, isn't wine acidic as well as full of sugar?
Yes, it is. So good for you. And stains your teeth and reduces saliva flow. So all in all, not a great choice for overall health, and for oral health. Great point. So thank you, Rich. That was great. I love it. Um, Make sure that you include plenty of nuts. Nuts are heart healthy. Different nuts have different fats, which are protective, and they're low in carbohydrates. So therefore, they won't be activated by the acid producing bacteria that's activated by carbohydrates. So they are great choices. Now, any questions or comments so far? Am I hitting home? Are you starting to think about the foods that you're eating and maybe swaps that you might need to make? Because that's exactly how I want you to be thinking. I want you to be thinking about the foods you like and how you're going to construct your roadmap. But before we get to that point, I also want to talk to you about some people who might be listening in or might be watching this after the live stream goes up, and that they may be having some issues. Particularly, I don't know if you know a lot of your friends, but a lot of mine, I'm actually so happy for them, are using the Invisalign, or they're having braces today. Kids and adults understand the importance of oral health, and therefore they're making sure that they have their teeth in alignment and that they are getting braces. And sometimes if you include foods that are hard or foods that you're biting into, the orthodontic structure in your mouth are fragile, they're delicate, and they can break. So you really want to be mindful of that. So definitely that chewing on ice thing, this would not be for you. In your case, with braces, you might want to watch nuts because they're hard. Watch popcorn, hard candy, gum, chewy candy like gummy bears or caramels. These are not good choices for anybody, but particularly for those who have orthodontia, who have braces on. Hard fruit like apples, carrots, and pears, cut them into smaller, more bite-sized pieces so that anything you have to bite into would be hard and can do damage to these appliances. Corn on the cob, cut it off the kernel. Ribs, cut the meat off the bone. Watch things like peanut brittle, hard pizza crust, hard rolls, bagels, because these can do damage. Bite in, so cut your things into smaller pieces and include things. Sometimes I don't know about you. I remember when I was a kid and I had braces and they tightened that braces. My mouth was sore for a little bit at the beginning. Let me know if that's bringing home a memory for you or if this is happening to you now. So soft foods like scrambled eggs, oatmeal, yogurt, these are great choices because they're full of protein. They'll heal, and they're easy on your mouth. Cottage cheese, a protein shake, these are easy for you. And that you can include more ripened fruits. A baked apple perhaps would be a better choice for you. Whole wheat pasta, brown rice, whole wheat couscous, whole barley, whole bulgur. They're all great choices for you. Any of you notice when you get tired or stressed, maybe some of you break out in canker sores in your mouth, and these can be painful and aggravating. And when you include foods that are spicy or acidic, such as pickles or sauerkraut or citrus fruit, they can aggravate because they can irritate and give you sores. So instead, keep your foods nice and bland until those sores heal. But same kind of foods include milk, include dairy, plenty of protein to help those heal. Cooked vegetables, hot cereals, chicken, eggs, tofu are all good choices. It's easier sometimes on those sores to have cool or room temperature foods versus hot foods. And sometimes it's best to use a straw because anytime you have contact with the sore, it will irritate it. When you have a straw that you're sipping through, you avoid contact or minimize contact with those sores. And you include the protein to promote healing. Some of you have what's called a dry mouth. Always ask your doctor, what is the cause of that, so that you can get to the root of the problem and understand that. But understand also that alcohol can give you a dry mouth. If you smoke, tobacco certainly can contribute to that. But watch foods that are spicy or salty, as they can give you pain, and keep water regularly in between meals. Watch caffeine, excuse me, tea and cola, because these can all dry your mouth out as well. But include sugarless gum, and candies, as they want to improve saliva flow and keep your foods moist, to help alleviate a dry mouth. For those of you who have had any kind of oral surgery or implants, make sure that you include soft foods, plenty of protein to promote healing, nutrient rich fruits and vegetables, and dairy. Make sure you have plenty of foods that are rich in protein, vitamins A, C, and zinc. So, eggs, oatmeal. If you're making oatmeal, it's what we call an incomplete protein. You can look to my video on how we lose weight, and it included a piece on vegetarian diets, how to complement a protein. But you'll understand that what I'm about to say is that if you're going to have an incomplete protein such as oatmeal, make it with milk instead of with water. That will meet that protein need. Or sprinkle some PB2 or some peanut butter on it, because peanuts are a legume, and when you combine it with a whole grain, you'll also get a complete protein. Soup is another good choice for you. And brown rice. If you have any kind of problem swallowing, talk to your doctor, find out what the reason for that is. And you want to avoid things that will cause you to choke or aspirate. So watch alcohol, any kind of extreme hot food or beverage, caffeine, anything spicy, anything that can cause you to choke are things you're going to watch. Popcorn, those kernels, watch things like nuts, the skins of fruit, celery because of the strings, dry, crumbly food, sticky foods such as bread, cake, peanut butter, banana. These are not good choices for you. Instead, look for thinner liquids that dissolve quickly, like gelatin, broths, yogurt, things that are cool. It's like a protein shake. These are much better choices for you. If you need to add thickener to custards or to yogurt to make sure that it goes down smooth and that you don't choke on it, it's a good idea. But have this discussion with your doctor. It's interesting to note for those who are pregnant or are thinking about becoming pregnant that babies' teeth begin to develop between the 3rd and 6th month of your pregnancy. Is that not fascinating and so exciting? So you need to make sure that you have enough nutrients not only for your body to support your oral health and your teeth and bones, but also for that of a new baby that's being formed. So make sure, because if your diet doesn't include enough calcium, for example, then that need will have to be met, and it will come out of your bones. You don't want that. You don't want your health to be compromised. So make sure you eat enough, not only for you, but for you and the baby, in terms of making sure you have enough milk, enough folic acid, make sure that you have enough vitamin D and protein and calcium and phosphorus, yogurt, cottage cheese. If you like fish, particularly salmon, read the labels for added sugar. If you are having any kind of morning sickness or nausea, small amounts, nice and easy, more on the bland side, easier to digest. But plenty of fruit and vegetables, that would be the way to go. All right. Any questions, or any of you having any difficulties chewing or swallowing, or you're wondering about any of the food you're eating and if they're good for you or not? I'm going to give a minute for you to think about that and see if you have any questions. But let me show you how you're going to put this together. So when you start your day, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You'll see why in some of the other videos, but really here's where you're going to cut hormones that block the action of insulin. You don't want to have a high blood sugar throughout the day. The only way to cut these hormones is to eat. You also want to meet your protein needs, including the protein needs to support the structure of your teeth and your gums and healthy circulation. So include whole grains. It might come in the form of a whole grain cereal. Maybe you have Cheerios, maybe you have oatmeal. If you like cream of wheat, they have a whole grain cream of wheat. Make sure it's the whole grain cream of wheat. A regular cream of wheat is not a whole grain. So they do have a new one. It's called whole grain cream of wheat. If you're having that cereal, make sure it's that version. Shredded wheat is my gold star for cold cereal because it has no sugar. It's rich in whole grains and high in fiber. You also could do puffins. Just make sure you're reading your labels. You could do a whole wheat toast or a whole wheat bagel or a whole wheat English muffin, and then have a source of protein, whether it's in the form of eggs or an egg frittata, or maybe you had cheese like Laughing Cow cheese or Baby Bell, a nice soft cheese. It'll give you calcium you need. It'll give you protein that you need. Or maybe you have peanut butter or PB2, which is delicious and easy. Let me know if any of you are having PB2. I am loving it. For those of you who are new to my channel, PB2 is a low-fat peanut butter. It is delicious. I take it with me everywhere I go because it's easy just to mix up with water. Or if you're having oatmeal, you could just put it right on. Um, Add some fruit so that you have a fruit that has rich in water and fiber. So maybe you have this oatmeal with blueberries. Maybe it was a yogurt with strawberries. Great choices. Now we're going to go on to lunch. Make sure that you have same thing. You have something to say? Yeah.
What about people who wake up and they have lemon water first thing in the morning?
It is a great choice. So lemon water. And I have to tell you, between you and me, that every time we go out for dinner, my husband, the first thing he asks our server is, could you please bring slices of lemon for my water? This is not a great choice. That acid will erode the enamel. So you're better off. I know many people start their day with lemon water under the impression that it's good for you or that it somehow is going to boost your metabolism or boost your immunity. It is not. It just is not. Have plain water. You'll be much better served. Or try that mineral water like I showed earlier. That would be a much better way to go. Other people often start their day with water that they add not only lemon, but also honey. And this certainly is not a good choice. So it is a great, great point because many people, let me know if it's you, happen to do this. I hear it time and time again. But it is not a good choice. And sometimes we do things because we heard about them. Sometimes we do it because our parents did it and we were just raised doing this. But so make sure you understand that this is what this live stream is all about. It's what this channel is all about, by providing you accurate evidence-based nutrition information so that you have a roadmap that's based on facts.
Richard?
Yeah, hi Richard.
Remember to brush your teeth after breakfast.
It is so true. And anytime you eat, if you can brush, is a great way to do it. Brush at least twice a day. And so thank you, Richard. It's totally right. And if you can't brush, if you're someplace and you just can't get, you don't have a toothbrush with you, you can't brush, make sure you go to a place where you can swish with water and spit it out, because that's exactly, you're trying to remove any kind of food that's in contact with your teeth or any particles that may have lodged in between your teeth.
Have you ever brushed your teeth and then had breakfast? It's gross.
No, never.
It makes everything taste
never.
weird.
Plus, I use a mouthwash. Do any of you use a mouthwash? I think it makes a big difference. I use a mouthwash. Looks for one with the American Dental Association seal of approval on it. And it also, part of the deal with the mouthwash is you can't eat for 30 minutes. So I do that last thing before I head out the door. I have an hour commute. But let me know if any of you are using a mouthwash as well. It does limit your intake because you can't eat right after that. You have to give it some time. So that's a great point. When we go on for lunch, make sure you have a big salad, plenty of vegetables. Remember, our goal here is to eat the rainbow. So the messages are the same, but the understanding and some of the modifications, depending on your situation, might change slightly, but it'll basically be on point to have a balanced diet to support your overall health, including your oral health. So a big salad, eat the rainbow, but protein in there. So whether it's sardines or fish or chicken or any kind of fish or chicken or turkey, this is a great way to go. And maybe you have some whole wheat bread or some whole wheat crackers with it and fruit. Maybe you have some watermelon, be delicious. In the afternoon, maybe you snack on a yogurt like Dan and Light and Fit Greek 80 or Greek Zero or Oikos, or maybe the Fage Zero, which is my gold star for yogurts, as it has no added sugar, no artificial anything, and maybe you mix it with some strawberries or some berries. It would be delicious. Or a peach, be delicious. Maybe you cut that peach up into slices to make it easier for you to eat, and maybe you have it with the yogurt, like peaches and cream. It would be delicious, I think. And the protein in that yogurt, along with the carbohydrate and the fiber from the fruit would help to keep your blood sugars nice and even and steady. That will help you to stay full longer. So by the time you get to dinner, you'll be ready to eat, but you'll be still in control. And that's exactly what you're looking for. So dinner might be a piece of salmon, rich in vitamin D, rich in calcium and phosphorus. And with that, maybe you have whatever cooked vegetable you like. Maybe it's broccoli, maybe it's some green beans, be delicious. And then maybe you have a baked potato or sweet potato or some whole grain rice, maybe brown rice or wild rice would be a great choice. If you're hungry later, you certainly could have another piece of fruit, and make sure you do brush just like you did after breakfast. You do it before going to bed, and also make sure that you floss and get regular dental checkups to make sure that everything is in working order. All right, everybody. Was that helpful for you? I think it's fascinating to understand the impact. Sometimes we don't think about the foods we eat, the impact that they have on your oral health.
What about acid reflux?
Acid reflux is a great thing to bring up. I did bring it up a little earlier, but it's important to discuss because that acid can erode the enamel and weaken the tooth. So it's important to keep acid reflux under control for many reasons, but part of that is for the oral health and also the health of your tissues lining your esophagus. Great. You guys are just terrific. I love the questions. It's really important. Let me know if you gave any thought before the fact that what you're eating, you always think about it. I think when you think about it in terms of the impact of your weight on your heart, on the risk for diabetes, perhaps, but very often we don't think about our food choices in terms of the impact on our oral health and how interconnected all these systems are. So how your oral health affects your overall health. And then this budding area of research that we'll start to learn more about the impact on the microbiome, this oral microbiome, and the food choices you have that you're making that are impacting those. So keep in mind your food choices, the form of these food choices, the nutrient contribution that they're making, and the frequency, when and how often you're having them.
Is regular dairy milk as good for your bones as almond or cashew or soy milk?
Such a great question. So almond milk in versus cow's milk versus soy milk, they're very different in terms of their nutrient contributions. So almond milk has very little protein, as almond milk is made from taking almonds, and we soak those almonds in, or they soak those almonds in water. The residual liquid looks milky, so they call it almond milk. And people love almond milk. Almond milk is often sweetened with added sugar. So if you're including almond milk, make sure you choose one that does not have sugar added to it by checking that label for the words that let you know that they've added sugar. Also keep in mind you're only getting about a gram of protein, which is really nothing. Cow's milk, on the other hand, rich in vitamin C, rich in calcium and vitamin D and protein, loaded with protein here, nutrients that will support oral health and overall health. This is a product that will help boost immunity, in help with weight maintenance as well, and that's important for overall health. So this is something great for oral health is cow's milk. Soy milk is a great alternative to cow's milk. And just make sure that they haven't added sugar. Also make sure they fortified it with calcium. So it's important to read these labels. These milks vary tremendously in terms of what they're bringing, what their nutrient contribution is. So it's important. Remember that mantra. Read it before you eat it. Refer to the video on how to read a food label so that you have that tool. It's an important tool so that you can be your own best judge when deciding whether a food is a good choice for you or not. It's great. All right, everybody. Well, I say happy smiles to everybody. Let's have happy teeth, give us a healthy body, and choose foods that will make you feel good and will keep your overall health in great shape, because that will keep you in great shape. So here's to you. Have a happy smile. When you smile, you totally feel good. Do you ever notice that? That if you're ever feeling sad, you should just make yourself smile and everything all of a sudden feels a little better. And it's better to have a great smile when you know your teeth are in good shape, that you've gone to your dentist regularly, and you're including foods that will help to support that. So I hope I've given you your roadmap. And here's to all of you. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for joining me on Dishing with the Dietitian. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Also hit that bell, the notification button. I will look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. If there's something you would like me to do a live stream on, I'm happy to do so. This one, as the case with many of the others, has been the result of suggestions from all of you. So I so love that you joined me on the YouTube tonight in the live stream. It's what makes a live stream great. Adds the richness of discussion. So thank you again, and I hope to see you all soon. Have a great night.